Hi, I'm Nave, and this is my team report / power ranking for VTSDL Season 8. I haven't played in a non-VTSDL draft league in a while, so that disclaimer isn't that useful anymore. This format is NatDex, no gimmicks, just roll it out with every Pokemon that isn't a stupid restricted. Now, I've had a doubt in my mind for a while that draft might suck without Terra, and people have been playing without Terra longer than they have with it, of course, but that doesn't mean it was good. I'm worried about the ability to stabilize your defensive matchups, right? Everything gets more matchup fishy and all around easier to prep for. While I'm glad Terra Ghost, random Terra Blast, and free adaptability are gone, covering for Terra with a lot of the fun in prep for me. The other side, the flip chessboard, is the creative aspect of draft, is building a team in what is essentially a two-person metagame. If half my team is ground weak and my option to beat grounds becomes, okay, I'll Terra to flying, that simplifies and removes depth from the game, and it's bad when depth is gone. It's kind of intuitive. And maybe that's true, but doubles being so offensive and trade-focused makes me lean to the side of prep gets easier rather than prep gets harder, and I want prep to be hard. But enough of that, real team report time. I did not have anything in mind going in here besides that I wanted to snatch up the good low tiers early, and then figured out what I would do from there. Long story short, before the draft commenced, we added in mythicals, good. And so my plan was still to take the low tiers, but my first draft pick would then become Victini, who is maybe not my favorite Pokemon right now, but has been an easy top 3 for a long time. It's probably tied within 6. Victini's general deal has aged well with my tastes, even if I've never used it in a competitive setting before. A lot of mythicals are themed around doing some RNG bullshit. Victini's Victory Star does the opposite, where instead of some percent chance to screw the other guy over, it makes itself and an ally a little bit more consistent. The free wide lens is not as good as Ring Grace or Poison Puppeteer, but it's cute and I like it. Victini also gets something I've gestured at before, where move-based power is more important than stats. Why Wound's Moose Blast is so strong relatively, and why Lando's Stomping Turn Room seems so weak compared to like Incineroar Flare Blitz. Whatever. Base 100 across the board is good enough when V-Crate puts you in the same ballpark as a Koraidon Flare Blitz. Blue Flare is stronger than a Flutter Moonblast, and Bolt Strike might as well be a third stab. Special Victini kind of sucks outside of Blue Flare. A more accurate Focus Blast isn't that compelling. The utility is low on Victini. There's no setup more effective than attacking twice. They're all +1s, Focus Energy plus Razor Claw. You don't even want to do Focus Energy because Blue Flare has the same BP as Overheat. And something else. Work Up, which is kind of interesting, but not really. And Victini does get Trick Room. It does not get Imprison Trick Room. It's got Wisp. It's got, like, Trick. Trick on spec sets or band sets is fun. But nothing too exciting. I've got the hiccups. V-Crate's horrible speed lowering downside can be used like a free room service in Trick Room, but spoiler, I'm not doing Trick Room, so just leave that in the realm of theory. But I am just going to lean more into the Tailwind bullshit with Prankster Volbeat. Wow, I hit that button good. I've never gotten Prankster Tailwind in draft before. I've always opted for like high base speed guys with Tailwind, but with the speed creep of NatDex, I figured I would have to upgrade. Not many other people seem to be big on Tailwind speed control. I guess they're afraid of Snatch, which I don't care about. I have the list of Snatch Pokemon in front of me. They all suck or no one has them. Volbeat is boring. Nothing to say, really. It trades Charm and Fake Tears that Illumise gets for Taunt, and I'm fine with that trade. Tail Glow, Baton Pass is gimmick. I'm not going to do that. I like Struggle Bug and Lunge. When I've prepped against it in the past, against other people, I love just looking at Struggle Bug forever. I love doing that. So I don't have to worry about the A-tier bargain bin anymore. I can move on to the D-tier, so no one else can grab the good stuff in there. So my friend Blizzard, who wasn't playing, wanted me to get Obstagoon because he was mad at it was in D, so I got it. I'm feeling less and less sure this is a good pick, just because my bracket includes both Surgifus, but I'm stuck with it now. Obstruct is really fun for Guts Flame Ward stuff, and the virtues of Reckless and Defiant don't need to be repeated. Not having Sucker Punch really guts this guy, though. Normal Dark is realistically unresisted. There's going to be running Dual Stabs and Obstruct, and whatever status move sounds the best between Helping Hand, Baby Doll Eyes, and Parting Shot. It's going to be Parting Shot. So it's Band Reckless, Parting Shot, not big fun. Now, a real D tier I'm passionate about is Nidoqueen. The slower, bulkier Landoi with more coverage. I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to tell a story. When I started getting into competitive Pokemon, I remember reading a comment talking about Nidoking. It was like Gen 8 OU pre-DLC, where it was a special attacker, even though that's like its lower stat, which is already cool to me. Even if we're used to it now with Landorus Incarnate, I think using your lower stat to attack is still a cool concept. But the same comment would also claim that every top player used Nidoqueen because even if she's weaker and slower, the 30 extra points of bulk made her a lot more valuable defensively, and she hit close enough damage ranges anyway, which fascinated my young, impressionable mind. The idea that there's a harder to use, higher reward version of an existing meta threat isn't really something you see in a turn-based deck builder. That's kind of a fighting game thing. I don't know if there's anything similar to that elsewhere in Pokemon. It's kind of an odd, incidental Gen 1 vestige. All of this is to say is that my motives for keeping my mouth shut and not being a thread to tear up were complex. So I was just gonna first draft of picking the A tiers, and then I went, no, I want to get these B tiers. So I got Serena. It's been so long since I've had priority blocking. I hate Fake Out, I hate Extreme Speed, I hate Sucker Punch, 50% of the time. Now I don't have to worry about them. On her own, she's terrible into my bracket, and I was very strongly considering trading her, but then I remembered that just because grass kind of sucks. The virtue of grass is not really in its offenses, or even solely in its defenses, but all of the weird gimmicks it has outside of that. Spore, Grassy Turn, Queenly Majesty, what other grass types are good? The Being an Ogre Pawn, Hydropple as Regenerator, which is like Amoonguss, Ferrothorn as a Ferrothorn. Yeah, alright, yeah. That's a good thing to say. Grass types get cool gimmick attached to a mediocre type. It's obvious. I'm realizing a lot of obvious things today. Anyway, the point is that Volbeat gets to hold an item that doesn't cloak all the time, or like Victini can run Scarf while getting all the joys of band or specs damage by getting helping handed by Serena. She benefits a lot from Victory Star too. She holds Wide Lens in the real game, so they will let each other get more item value. It's a very fun synergy that isn't. That's only fun on the builder side, really. It's not really impressive to do someone do. So with this next pick, I will have only one member of the Loyal 3 left to pick. Pheasantipity. I haven't drafted Pheasantipity now. I've had Monkey Nori and before. This pick isn't too interesting on its own. I chose Dogi based off feeling most teams I had to play would lose hard to it, and I needed a fighting type. Okidogi is the best fighting type available. It's just extremely versatile and great at everything. 128 attack, high BP stabs means you can wall break while being bulky enough to be the wall. And when there's no Intimidate, you could do a lot worse for a backup ability than Toxic Chain. It does have a 4x weakness to Psychic, but that's kind of a fake 4x weakness. Natural Psychics are a problem, sure, but you've got Knock, and it's like HP Psychic or non-stab the move Psychic just feel really bad to slot in, and if Dogi is getting that much pressure, good. That's probably a good thing. That said, one of the main draws to Dogi is bulk upsets, which seems a bit hard to do without Terra, but I'll make it work if it has to. The last B tier will be Rotom Wash. I don't like this guy, he's boring and doesn't do anything, but I need to fill out this Fire, Water, Grass core and get an Electric type, and there's no one else that can do that. I'm kind of highly open to trading this out, I just have no idea what would approach a side grade here. You know what Rotom Wash does? It does like electric bullshit, or it spreads wisps. I can like mitigate the Hydro Pump inaccuracy with Victory Star, but like I would kind of rather do HP Water whenever the situation that call for HP Ice, but maybe I'm just a weenie. I don't know. You're lame. You're on Fraud Wash. That's done with him. Moving on to Tyrantrum, who is like surprisingly fair for being a Rock Smash, a Head Smash Rockhead guy. I like Arc has it. Arc is kind of bullshit, so it's a Fire Rock type. Rock Dragon gives you 7 weaknesses, only 2 of which you can hit with your stabs, but like being a rock that's neutral to water and 4x resisting fire without having a 4x weakness is really cool. It's got an Assault Vest stat spread and plenty of like effective free stabs with Strong Jaw, but like that's not half as scary as the Rockhead and Smash stuff. The speed tier is super uncomfortable though. It's not good enough for Trick Room 71, and it's not good enough to be a Scarfer. Ultimate Scarf can outspeed up to base 115 and Jolly up to 131, so like you can't put it next to Serena all too well. Can certainly try, and I certainly will try, but I would want to put it next to Serena and put there something above. Or Jolly might not be strong enough. Like that. We're just living in a world where more than a handful of Pokemon hit 130, where like there are more than a handful of Pokemon that hit base 135 or above now, like not counting opposing Scarfers. We'll find it pretty easy to outspeed this if I Scarfed it, and like to say nothing of Tailwind, matching Tailwinds. You know, it's very, when it's great, when it's bad type of guy. I'm okay with this. I think he is cool. So the last 3 slots I all traded out. So we're going to discuss the initial pick and then the new guy. First, I picked Shiinotic as a Dozo and Trick Room answer. It would have 30 speed spores and strength stop, and that would do the job for everything I was scared of. But I stopped needing a Dozo answer with one of my future picks. Talking about this is going to be annoying. I'm not just going to say it, even though I realize it's dumb to not just say all of it. So we're just going to kind of have to deal with this being linguistically annoying. But the typing of Shiinotic became very uncomfortable. So I traded out for Rinragus, who does not do anything but be a Trick Room counter. It's got plenty of support moves to beat back Trick Room, with got the bulk to not be completely useless if Trick Room doesn't come. Unfortunately, it doesn't have Stomping or Horse moves, so I'll have to improvise with Sand Tomb or Body Press. It's still Sand Tomb's good. It's Ghost Fighting coverage for Body Press, 145 base defense. I don't have enough special attackers, so I wish like Palisand got Wisp because I used that instead if it did. Onto the S tiers. So I had a vague idea of what I wanted with the start, but never any real commitment. I know I wanted my finger to be from S, and I know that I wanted a ghost. And I got both of those things and then traded them out for better versions. First I got Mousehold. I want to do Victory Star, Choice Bomb, Choice Band, Population Bomb. That seemed really fun. But looking closer, its defenses wouldn't be able to hold up, and Victini Mousehold next to each other isn't actually that good because Victini doesn't threaten setup. You're not actually afraid of Follow Me, plus Victini does something. Especially in part because Mousehold's like bulk was a lot worse than I thought. I don't think it can cut it in this NatDex format now. I initially wanted Togekiss in the first place because I like Togekiss and it's new, and then someone picked her, and then I forgot, and then they traded her away, and I remembered that I wanted her, and the rest is history. You know that Serene Grace Air Slash under Tailwind is scary, and even if there's no Moonblast, 120 Spad Eagle are respectable enough. The goal I have is to play this more like an Ogerpon, where the finger is an addition to a guy you already used to hit stuff. And like Ogerpon has 1 million more damage, but it also has 1 million less resistances and 1 million less flinches. Yep, boy. Oh wow, I cannot make my voice high. I was trying to do the Togekiss cry, but it's not. I'm too scared to be loud at the moment. I'm being pretty loud, from me anyway. Being, what was it? Being, you know, to play the Togekiss sound. You know what the Togekiss sound? Pretend I did that. I don't have anything too special to say. I kind of feel like I don't have enough to say about Togekiss. I just like how she's shaped. She's just shaped very pleasantly. I want to like pick her up under the wings and kind of rotate her around. Like be like, here comes the airplane there. Into nothing. I don't know. Like run around with her like she's a little toy airplane. And I'm a kid in like, I don't know, a movie that's old looking. Not old, just old looking. Last pick was Aegislash. So I wanted a ghost from the start. And my options were Aegislash, Spectrier, Marshadow, or Dragapult. Okidogi I like more than Marshadow, so I got Okidogi. I liked Tyrantrum more than Dragapult, so I got Tyrantrum. So it was between Aegislash or Spectrier. Because Mousehold wasn't new, and Aegislash was new, I picked Aegislash. But I did not like this thing, I did not think it would be good. There's inherent anti-synergy to Tailwind plus Aegislash. You need to invest a bunch of speed to make it outspeed anything in the first place. And like, so which you would have to take out a lot of bulk to outspeed anything. And then you go into your dies in one hit mode and die in one hit even more, die in half a hit. My team was so physical I would have needed to use it as a special attacker basically always, and the only special coverage it got besides Hidden Power is Air Slash. without intim or fake out. I just didn't have good ways to support it, and I was just gonna roll with that for the sake of variety. But then I got Togekiss, so I went, ooh, I can get Spectrier now and maintain my one new guy purity that I'm stressing about due to internal problem. Which is great. Spectrier is the way I always wanted. It fixes my low speed problem, and Shadow Ball / Raw Terra Blast is enough for coverage. And even then, I know when a Dark type's coming. I know when I have to be scared of the Dark type, I can just bring Shadow Ball Psychic or Shadow Ball. It's got so many options for a certain move. Setup, Snarl, Wisp, Taunt, Scary Face, Haze 2. Support Horse is just as good as Specs Horse as far as I'm concerned. There's like T-Wave plus 2-Wave Volbeat plus Hex Horse. I think those all kick ass. 2, I'm very happy with this thing. What else? There was something, I saw it as something. I forgot about it. I guess I didn't think of it. I didn't think about anything. It was like, no, it was about Aegislash. It was like, I regret Aegislash a little bit. I only regret Aegislash because I couldn't find a fast guy I liked. But I wanted to do, I can reveal this now, but I gestured to there being a B tier that I thought was obviously the best one. But I also gestured to that I would trade for it, and I didn't do that because what I was going to do was I was going to trade Volbeat for Terrakion and then trade Okidogi for Crobat. I didn't have to do that, partially because I realized Terrakion sucks, but Crobat rules. Because, like, base 130, Inner Focus, gets Tailwind, gets Haze, gets Super Fang, gets, like, Poisoned Fang, I think it gets Taunt, it gets everything. I think that's, like, really, really insane glue. I think that's the best glue you can ask for. And I think that kind of paired with like Aegislash pretty well, because like looking at my team's kind of weird relative slowness, like, okay, well then I put this next to Serena, and it's like, okay, no, it doesn't. Okay, I was right. Whenever this happened, I kept going back and forth like this, like Aegislash is better in X and Y, and they go, wait, Spectrier is better, but Spectrier always won, so that's why Spectrier is here. This is the part. Now I'm done. I'm not done yet. What did I reveal enough text? I feel like this is your inside note. Is that I recorded this and then it was all scratchy and awful sounding, so I went back to record it. What other text do I have that I forgot? Victini has, what can Victini do with Victini? Victini have any tricks? This is all improv. This isn't. What do I have? No, Victini doesn't have any tricks. Volbeat's tricks is that it's got String Shot. That's how I beat. If you have Tailwind, that's how I'm gonna beat you. I set up Tailwind, and I'm gonna fucking String Shot you, and it's gonna suck because you're gonna String Shot it and then Speed War, and you're gonna be mad. Obstagoon is boring. I don't know. My plan for Obstagoon is that I can Tailwind the Volbeat and then I obstruct and then I'm happy. Because then I have Guts, and then if you hit it, then you're -2. Nidoqueen is that I'm going to run Raw Blizzard. I want to run Raw Blizzard next to Victini. Focus Plus next to Victini. Just because that, like, eats her damage. Orlando. I expect, like, Orlando Eye Spear if she does Focus Plus. So it's really good on her specifically. Serena gets Faint. I think that's a NatDex move. I think the NatDex move she gets is Faint, and that's really fucking good. Watch out for Faint. Okidogi from Gen 9. You suck. Your gimmick is that you have Loaded Dice Rock Blast, which Hark also has, and whenever someone has Hark, I think you should be running Loaded Dice Rock Blast one of these. They never do, but that won't be me. My Hark will use Rock Blast. Runebrigus, okay, where I'm at. Dude, don't look at that. Don't look at. Okay, yeah. These are my tired rambles. Sorry. I kind of am sorry. I'm not just saying that this time. I'm sorry that I was so lazy and I have to make this really tired. And I want to be done with it. I'm going to wake up tomorrow and then record all over again. Even if I'm more coherent. I want to play video games tomorrow and roll around. Do shit. Alright, fucking whatever, man. Alright, move on. This is the end of the part where I record the team review. Now I will pause and record the different half, except because the recording got fucked up, this is recorded after the power ranking. I don't care. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. I'm out. Alright, this is the part you all clicked on, the power rankings. I'll be honest, I do not like most of the teams here, especially in my own division. Both in the senses of the subjective, does this look fun to play? And the still subjective, but I can probably persuade you on, is this well built? Some of the problem is at least a fourth, maybe a third of the teams here are doing some weird bit. I guess NatDex just gives everyone the giggles. And like I think the rest is some combination of new toy syndrome, not enough to new toy syndrome, and like 2 S's and 2 D tiers forcing a more top-heavy draft, which is kind of a sour note to start everything off on. I promise I'm more positive on NatDex than I thought I'd be, and that thinking the teams are sort of lame, I think, is like a weird social phenomenon and not reflective of NatDex in and of itself. Like last time, I'll do my division, GameStop, and then the other division, GameShark, until we get to the end, and I'll rank both divisions together. But I'm gonna mix up the names a lot, so keep that in mind. So number 10, GameStop will be DraftZilla. They added some Discord bot AI thing, like to participate in the draft as someone's like summer project, and I don't know what its plan is. Someone tested an AI on like Domino U Ladder. I do know that, but like, and it like the AI got really good. So if this thing's tested on VTC Ladder, it might end up being pretty strong, but its team sucks. It's got Prankster Tailwind. It's doing like that with Victini and Spectrier, but like the speed tiers are so weird. They all hover in the 75-85 range, which like outside of Tailwind, or if Tailwind gets matched, then they're kind of boned. It's only got Runerugus under base 70, so the trickery matchup sucks. Serena and Rotom Wash like have a lot of pivot power. Serena's, what Serena does, and Rotom's got Volt Switch. But there's not any like Intimidator fake out to like get anything out of what happens when they switch out, besides like the inherent advantages to getting a guy that isn't the boast of what's in front of it. But like also like I don't know, it's weird. Those just don't fit to me, and like Spectre, Okidogi, and kind of Togekiss can all set up, so they would really like at least fake out. So I would just ditch the C tiers on Obstagoon for Mabosstiff, Kangaskhan over Tyrantrum, and maybe Dreadagon over Runerugus. I guess Kangaskhan just over Runerugus, and then just concede losing the Trick Room matchup or something. I don't know. Now you get Dreadagon because you need an under 50. So whatever. Get this thing off my screen. I don't want to look at it. 10 GameShark will not be the monotype team. There's 2 monotype teams, but I don't think the monotype team is the worst in this division. The worst in this division will be Nikki. Usually she builds good teams that just get held back by being Nikki, but I don't know what's going on this time. It's like a single stall team, except only 2 of these guys have any bulk. My guess is like Crest will use Toxic, or like Salazzle will use Toxic. And then Tingler will use Sand Tomb, and then like Press will press Lunar Blessing until everything dies. Neither of those 2 will die, which seems fine at stall. There's too much like kind of gimmick slop elsewhere. There's a lot of investment in this Paris Trap mode. Like, okay, fine, Gothorita needs to keep the toxic stall targets stalled, so that makes sense. But like Dewgong and Mismagius seem like a little bit too much of an overcommitment to the bit. And they're both really weak individually. I hate the Dewgong hype. Dewgong is awful. Mismagius is probably fine. Now, this team needs a fat guy that has Yawn for Yawn Trap, like Walrein or Swampert, or maybe something with Infestation. The Station plus Toxic seems pretty fun if it's next to Cresselia. I do like the shitty Torn Limb mode with Torn T plus Glamora, and having Buzzwole in the back that break all the steel types. Is cool. It does seem like a problem. They don't really have anything to break poison types. Obviously, Cresselia and Tinglu are both super effective on the poison, but they're weak. Cresselia is actually weak, and for some reason they didn't think to give Tinglu high horsepower. But we're just waiting until the one game where Nikki successfully stalls someone out, and we'll write about that in the Legends. So, back to these monotype teams I've been telling you so much about. That will be 9 GameStop. So Pineapple Pirate surprised us all with Mono Water last season. Mono Draft. That's all of us. And I don't think they'll get to see the same success with Mono Dark. Dark is just a much worse defensive typing than Water and doesn't get any free boost from Rain. This team is full of 4-10 weaknesses, and you've got no Terra, and you've only got 1 Sash. There isn't much to say about the composition here, because without a field effect, there's not much you can do but pick the best of what's available, and it is left wanting for better options. It's missing out on the only redirector and group on it. It's missing out on like 1 of 2 potential fairy neutralities in Bisharp, and like it doesn't have Crocodile, which like isn't that bad, but you would have had it over Quill, I bet, but in like Ground Ice with Jinpao, but like it's livable of the 3. I don't get the Wochen. It has insane anti-synergy with Jinpao and Urshifu. There's 1 special attacker. There's like 1.5. The 1 is Greninja and the half is Iron Jugulus. Like, I don't know. I think you should swap that for Meowscarada. Like, okay, I get it. It's another rail guy that wants dash, but at least it can pretend to be a different type for a little bit. If you like play rough all of the fighting types and they hit you with the fighting move, like something. Otherwise, I just switch out one of the C tiers, probably Lockex, because like first impression on fairies doesn't do anything, and Lockex is just the worst Jinpao. For Guzzlord, I think Guzzlord could be fun for a stall mode, like you do Lead Sheet plus Toxic Stall with those guys, and then Guzzlord can like stockpile up a bunch. Doesn't get recovery, but like I think you don't have a dragon type. You're already screwed down a million fairy weeks anyway. What's 1 more? Get an Ultra Beast, that's fun. I just like Guzzlord. I've got motivated reasoning for this pick. Like, I don't know. Lead Sheet with Wochen, Toxic was over Quill. Toxic also was Guzzlord, but you can do Stockpile. That's my pitch. That's my elevator pitch. Also get the boss just over Krokorok. Krokorok is awful. The Sableye is going to put up insane numbers. It is by far the most versatile guy here. I think its thing is just going to Prankster Wisp everything, because I think these guys are too frail to get anything out of screens. There's not really anything you want Gravity for, and I don't know what else Sableye gets. There's not really any for Weather. I guess there's Overkill and Greninja stuff. I guess Greninja Rain is kind of a fun idea if it gets Battle Bond. It should get Battle Bond. It's going to be, I don't even know if we talked about that. I'm going to leave that in as a mystery, because I think it would be funny if he pulls up with Battle Bond Greninja and it goes, uh-oh, you can't use that. That'd be funny. Anyway, that's it. I think the Sableye is just going to be Prankster Wisping, and Prankster Wisp will go crazy. So, you'd expect the other mono type to be here, right? It's not the other mono type. It's Mario from Hotel Mario. As far as I can tell, this is another joke team. Or not another, I guess this is the first joke team. It's like using every weather at once. You won't know which weather gets brought, right? It's like the Avatar from the show Airbender. You see Tornus, Excadrill, Scovillain, Kingdra all show up, and you go, oh, which one's he going to lead? And that lead guessing game is annoying, but it's like not too hard to make a game plan around. And like, if anything, I think the weather roulette mode is only threatening because the Torn plus Nihilego mode is much scarier, right? But you don't want to get killed by Meteor Beam and have to deal with a +2 Nihilego. I think if you're preparing for something like that, you bring a ground type, you're a lot more susceptible to Scovillain, Leaf Storm, or Kingdra, Water Move. Excadrill is also there. I do think Mew support feels a little odd here. Like, it is a Mew, of course, and the support does exist for it to be a setup sweeper. But because you have Tornadus, Prankster, Tailwind, and are doing an extremely offensive team, I'm not seeing where Mew's support move pool will be better than clicking Tailwind with Tornadus. It's hard to go wrong with like a Scarf on Mew, or just like Life Do, like Scarf coaching. You can do Life Do, you can do like, and you can also do Tailwind, but slower. It's really just coaching and Life Do. And screens, I guess. But like Bander specs, Mew and Tailwind can poke adequate holes in the other guy's team when there's no Terra. It's easier to fit all the coverage moves you need. Off 100 attack could be better, could be worse. I just like, I don't know. If there's nothing better, I don't think there's anything better in S left currently that can do the job of hit what my chosen weather can't. So I guess I like Mew. I think the Mew should be used offensively even without setup. Just because there's not really much that can be coached here, and that's really Mew's fun support gimmick is coaching Life Do Tailwind. You don't need Tailwind. You don't really have that much use for life, do. I guess Earthworm could kind of like it. And then, like, I don't know, there's Yawn, there's Toxic, I don't know. Setup, Sweeper, stuff, whatever. This team is a little too weak inside of Trick Room. So, like, I think I would maybe swap out the Heliolist for a Bear Tick. Both so you could have a guy at base 50 speed, which is, like, slower than anything you have here. I mean, Earthworm's at 65, you'll be fine. And you'll have a Slushrush guy and fully complete your Weather Trio. It's kind of sad that Sandy Shocks isn't a Titan, because it's just not as aesthetic. This is a very aesthetically pleasing team. The colors all look nice, but you see sand, sun, rain, and then you just go sun again. There's like, I don't know, there's just something a little displeasing in there being 4 sun and benefactors and 2 swift swimmers. There's nothing wrong with that. There's more sun rain guys than sand snow guys. With different typings, it was kind of bound to happen. But I don't know, it just looks like they're at a different lunch table than the other ones. It's like, oh, we get twice as fast in the snow, and we share types with our weather, and it's like a Quillfish is like, oh, I've got Swift Swim, but I'm a dark type, and it's like, I've got Chlorophyll, but I'm a dark type. Heliolist is like, I've got Solar Power, but I'm not a Charizard, stuff like that. Anyway, 8 GameStop will be Aux, AOX. I'm pronouncing it Aux. Ox. It's probably Ox. Oh, like Aux. Aux's team journey has been really weird. It started off as a sand team with like Tyranitar, but Mario took extra drills, so Aux went, this sucks, I'm going to do something else. So they traded their S tiers out for Torkoal and Raging Bolt, and then got like a Lilligant, which they got in the normal draft period. But they didn't swap out the vestiges of the sand team, which is odd. Like, so Tauros Aqua, Venomoth, and even Talonflame don't make sense on Sun. I think Brambleghast doesn't make sense on Sun too. Like, Tauros obvious is a water type. Talonflame doesn't make sense because, like, why are you using Party Tailwind and not a Jumpluff? Why is your Jumpluff not over the Brambleghast slot? Stuff like that. There's no Sunroom. You can't do Sunroom here because nothing has Trick Room. It's impossible for you to set Trick Room here. It deters Trick Room, sure, but that's not good enough. You can do a Jetpack Torkoal stuff. That is, that's a fixed interaction, but like, I don't think Raging Bolt and Tusk get as much out of the entry point as like a Charizard does. Raging Bolt is very bulky. You can just lead, Tusk next to Talonflame. It doesn't need the Sun. And like, all Talonflame can do next to Torkoal is Tailwind. It can't do Sleep Powder. It's a lot easier to disrupt Gale Wings when it can't tear to Ghost. So like, it's all kind of gross. So my big remodel of this team would be as follows. Talonflame for Blacephalon. It's the closest you can get to a Charizard. It's sad the Modifier team sniped you. You're going to have to live with it. The Brambleghast for the Jumpluff. I already said that. No further comment needed. It combines the Talonflame with Lilligant. Right out Bruxious for Tauros Aqua. It's still a water type, but it's a Trick Room setter, and that's what's important. You Aqua Jet your own Torkoal and Trick Room. You activate Weakness Policy. And then you kill them with +2 fire moves. Or you can just get a Rangaroo and do the same thing and just rock the Torkoal, which also is just as good. Put out the Lilligant for the Hariyama, so you can get your own Trick Room up and like have a fake Ursaluna. And I wanted to play video games instead of getting this out on time. So this is a 5th trade when there's only 4. But I think switching out Venomoth for Cherim would be super sick. You get up Tailwind with Jumpluff. You eject pack Overheat into Great Tusk. Then on the next turn, you manually swap in Cherim, which gives Great Tusk from Flower Gift, Choice Band, and Assault Vest at the same time, on top of whatever item it is actually holding, and the Proto Boost, which I think will be super sick, super fun. It's basically the only fun thing you can do in Rain and with Sun and NatDex. It's like there's one NatDex Pokemon on this team, and it's Liepard. I also wrote to trade Lycanroc for Ditto, and you can see that there's Lycanroc on the slides. And as I was doing that, he traded for it on his own, so that makes me feel smart. You don't have proof, you only have circumstantial proof. I actually thought about that, but I think you kind of do because the Ditto's there. I don't know. Thank you for the Togekiss, by the way. I really wanted that Togekiss. So 8. GameShark will be Cataclysmic. I don't know if it's Cataclysmic or Cataclysmic, because I always thought it was... I noticed it was spelled with an I, but I thought that was just because Like, oh, the actual name Cataclysmic was taken, so it was just Cataclysmic because L and I look similar. And then he made some comment that implied that Cataclysmic was correct. So I wrote Cataclysmic, which is Cataclysmic there. Well, I don't know. I was going to say cat from now on, doesn't matter. So last season, when Mono Water made playoffs, it was not because the team was good. I got the playoffs because Pineapple was good. With this team, if Cat makes playoffs, it's mostly because, Cat is good. But the team's not that bad. The team's pretty good. It's got a lot of option slop, redirection and Magmar, intimidate and Tauros, priority Tailwind and Fletchinder. It's got a reasonable option inside of Trick Room. There's just a Turtonator. It's not that good, but it's under base 50. It's got Shell Trap. It'll do. It's just got, it's got everything. It doesn't have Fake Out, but that seems like a willful choice more than getting sniped, because, like, okay, replace Infernape with Tauros, then you don't have Intimidate. That seems like a lot worse. Replace Charizard with Infernape. You have two of the same type, which is only repeated once here. It is repeated on Pure Fire type. No, it is. No, I guess you would rather have Infernape than Charizard, because the High Explosion and the Charizard kind of overlap too much. Frisk and the Ghost type is probably more valuable than over Charizard. So, yeah, that does kind of suck, but it doesn't suck too much. I kind of like that, and also, like, you wouldn't want Torque at a Reflect into a Dormant 10 too. That's also why I thought it was willful. Anyway, really just pumping the other guy full of fire spread moves is going to work a lot better without Terra, and comparatively, even though it was a season ago, it would work better than, like, Mono Water, because Heat Wave is everywhere. Every fire type gets Heat Wave. The only water type spread move is Surf, which doesn't work, and Muddy Water, which is inaccurate, and then it's just Water Spout, but everything works here. And even the type chart is honestly not that bad. Okay, sure, it's only got one rock neutrality, but rock's a fake type, and no one drafted a good rock type. There's Nihilego, but that has a 4x weakness, and I know tons of these guys get Scorching Sands. Taurus gets high horsepower. Again, it's neutral to rock. Doesn't resist poison. I just think fighting resists poison. But like, water resists you, sure, but it only kind of resists you because you're boosted in sun, and it isn't hitting you super effectively anymore. So it's like, it's a weird half interaction. And ground doesn't resist fire to begin with, so you'll do fine if you outspeed them. It is dealing with a lot of internal speed ties that's annoying. 3 base 100s and 2 base 95s. Having nothing faster than that is unfortunate if Tailwind can go up. When you can't Terra Fletchinder, it's pretty likely you can't get Tailwind up, but you can't do speed gouging fire, I guess. You don't really have anyone to howl for. I guess Speed Gouge and a Scarf Darm 1 point slower than it could work, and you have a Scarf and a Band, or just a normal ass Tauros. I mean, it's only those two you really have. Goes Flareon kind of sucks. The GIF is good. I mean, I have some synergy complaints with, like, Volcanian's water moves, but I think Volcanian is here for the typing more than anything else, which I can't blame it for. Whatever fire water type is in. So that's good. They've also got the best defensive typings you could ask for, because what are you going to get instead? Ogre Pond Fire? I mean, probably. Alright, that's it. I don't see the need to go on about the reasons having a team with only one type is bad, so we're ending it here. 7th GameStop will be Jade, who is doing a team themed around jerking off, and that's not funny. Sorry. I like that Trevenant is good wood, I guess. I like that if the joke of Tabu Fini is Tabu Findom, financial domination, that's kind of funny. I like that. I like that if it's true. I hope it's true. The speeds are all over the place. It's leaning on the slow end, but the only Trick Room guy that does any damage is Stakataka, and the only Tailwinder is Altaria. Like, you've got Pheromosa Speed Swap. Pheromosa Speed Swap is fun. Speed Swap onto Arctazil. Speed Swap onto Snare out Stakataka for really no reason, just because it would be funny. And just really just those two. I mean, you can't do that. Pheromosa Speed Swap is better than Tailwind. No. But the only really damage this team has outside the two guys with the 4x weaknesses, easy to abuse those. Pheromosa has to hold a sash all the time. Is like the Aurora's Arctazol stuff, which suffers from being two ice types. Arctozolt is relatively easy to outspeed with Scarf, so maybe you won't try when Pheromosa is so hard to outspeed with Scarf. Yeah, that kind of works. You would only risk having a Scarf that's an outspeed of Pheromosa if it was like a Ghost type, and they don't really make Ghost type Scarfers that also can beat Arctozolt. So yeah, I guess that's good. Tapu Fini is weird. It's good into Urshifu's and Incineroars and Amoonguses, but those aren't in draft. The utility edge isn't really valuable. Like Stack Attack can't get burnt now, I guess, but that's an option you're removing in Builder, not like they're not coming in with Will-O-Wisp and you're shutting them Wisp down. It's not that big of a difference in practice if the goal is I don't want Stack Attack to be burnt, but they get something out of it, whereas they don't in the Wisp scenario. So Specs, Fini, Moonblast, or like Combine every week will do fine enough, but there's a lot better out there you could do for the same job. I mean, Magmortar next to Magmortar or Redirection support is fine, so maybe Combine something. That's just kind of boring. Oh, I'm so negative about these stuff. I'm so negative. I'm a Tapu Fini hater. I just don't like Tapu. I like that it makes Amoonguss bad, but I've been starting to like Amoonguss more and more lately. So that's kind of increased my reason to hate Fini. Farigiraf is like kind of the joke bad pick, but I don't think it's that bad. Pheromosa can't get nuked by priority anymore, and like now Pheromosa can safely run Helping Hand, not safely run Helping Hand, can safely run Sash, and Farigiraf will give it a bunch of fun Helping Hands out of the deal. There's your free choice band and specs. That's sweet. I think that alone, plus just being able to have a finger next to Stack Attacka, is how I'm justifying this over everything below it. The Persian is also there. It's got Fake Out. Not that good in Tailwind. Room. I mean, you can do it, and you can do Ferrum. It's fucking Fake Out. What else? What can I say about Fake Out? What else? Anything else funny? No. All right, moving on. 7 GameShark will be Wumbles, who got my Aegislash after I decided I didn't want it. It's balance, but it's a little too balanced. It's fair to a fault. There's a pretty modest damage ceiling compared to some of these other teams. Sneasler CC lowering its defenses, which are already pretty low, and Aegislash attacking, having the combos making its defenses like awful, are very salient downsides that Mons in the same tier don't have for the same damage or even more damage. They do have very strong like defensive coverage. The defensive weaknesses are covered very well. Aegislash and Indeedee are both weak to dark. One dark move and they're dead. Not for Aegislash, but for Indeedee. Yes. But like there's a ton of dark resist here. Sneasler, Azumarill, Mandibuzz, Sneasel, or Carbink. That all deters bringing a dark type to defeat those two. And like while you could like bring an Expanding Force guy to Expanding Force Sneasler, Aegislash, Indeedee itself, Mandibuzz, Iron Leaf, Sneasel again, kind of Carbink just because it's fat. Like all deter bringing Expanding Force to kill Sneasler in the first place. I think that's really good. Like I do think Sneasler, like while being effectively the fastest thing in the game, I don't think its bulk can probably keep up with the Nexus power creep, but just kind of stop it from being as good as a dark resist. I mean, it can still punch the dark types, but if they don't die, that's bad. I banged my arm on the desk again, so you really just heard that. I'd be really mad, even though I'm not going to listen to this because I'm so tired. Anyway, there's kind of a Trick Room thing going on here with the Carbink. Again, I mean, I think the Rockruff's just the mascot, but Rockruff is slow. The Azumarill and kind of the Aegislash. I don't think Aegislash and Trick Room isn't that exciting, but you can do it. But like in DDM, it's difficult to use your Trick Room because you want to remove that so it can Expanding Force you in the first place. And like while you can use Trick Room with Carbink, and Carbink is a lot more defensive, Steel type is largely unresisted into this team, so you bring that to kill the Carbink. I mean, it's got 30, I guess, but it's not a spread. This is the part where I'm making up scenarios based on incomplete information. So whatever. The Firewater Grass, Arcanine, and Azumarill Iron Leaves core, it does seem difficult to break. There's kind of a speed sandwich between Azumarill and Iron Leaves. I don't really know what it's not really speed sandwiching anything good, but it is a speed sandwich. I always think it's cute when Iron Leaves isn't psychic terrain, because then Psyblade is like kind of just as strong, but not really, because terrain's weak. I like Cyclizar shed tailing into Sneasler or shed tailing into Aegislash. The virtues of shed tailing into a Sneasler are kind of obvious, but I think Aegislash getting to attack twice in sword mode is a fun application of shed tail it's not around to see. I would get Allocate or something over Rockruff, just because not having any redirects in at all is kind of bad, I guess, because Aegislash wants to get chances up or whatever the fuck, or like you want to belly drum. Kind of all you need. I would swap Mandibuzz for like Cobalion maybe, and then you can like beat up on it with Sneasel, but I mean, you already have a Steel Dog right fighting type. I just don't. The Mandibuzz just the weak link. I don't know. Next GameStop will be Sadie, who is running Rain, and I find this team kind of hard to rate because the actual Rain doesn't seem that important. Tangrowth and Scizor benefit defensively, and the water types and Zapdos certainly get weaker with losing access to free boosts and Hurricane. But like, except for the Scizor, all of these guys are perfectly functional without Rain. Like, if the Pelipper was replaced with like an Ogerpon Rock, I'd just go, oh well, can't go wrong with 2 water types. The only exclusive Rain trick is Rest Manaphy. There's no Swift Swim, there's no Rain Dish. That's about as far as it goes. But it suggests to me some sort of Rain balance thing, right? There's a lot of pieces that can set up. Manaphy, Scizor, kind of Greedent, kind of Espathra. But those same pieces can just sit around and hit stuff. Manaphy, will have Rain boosted special moves. Scizor has 130 attack. Espathra has Lumina Crash and Speed Boost. Greedent, I'm still talking about Greedent. Greedent's just a fat squirrel. That's all. That's what Greedent does. Fat squirrel attack. And like, that's neat. I don't know, it's neat. Togetic and Tangrowth both synergize well with that kind of maybe I'm set up, maybe I'm not game plan. And like the Scarf Dracovish, even if it kind of sucks that you might have to like scarf it every week because you don't have fast tailwinds, so you can't really afford to be banned. Ban Strongjaw, that could be annoying, but I think there's also like a lot of pieces that can like look like they should be pivoting around. Tangrowth has Regenerator. Pretty much everything on this team gets U-turn. Like, I think, it suggests that you want to pivot around a lot, slowly or fastly or whatever. But without Fake Out or without good Intimidate, Masquerade's not good Intimidate. You're not getting all too much out of doing that, moving around. And, like, I don't think you really need to on a Rain team, but it just... Intimidate and Fake Out could go a long way on this in... It may not be true for others. Maybe Masquerade is good. Really, I just diss Espathra for Barrascuda. Like, I do think you need, even if, like, getting 3 water types and, like, Barrascuda and Dracovish kind of overlap in roles, you do want a Swift Swimmer. And, like, I know you wanted to trade away the Espathra. I saw that. Something like that. I don't know. I like Espathra. Yeah, Espathra's fine. Don't get Barrascuda. Barrascuda sucks. And like maybe trade Greedent for Kangaskhan just so you can have Fake Out and your Trigger Mancer with Togetic. But if you're just gonna do tough cheek stuff, then whatever. Oh, I'm tired. Alright, 6, GameShark is Mikey. There's a lot going on here. This was initially a retread of his Season 5 team that he would go on to overhaul in free agency. And the only similarity to Season 5 now is having a Flutter main, and it really looks like a team that wants the gold. Like, first picking Flutter is all you need that someone's sweating it out. The speeds are extremely strong on both ends of the spectrum. 150 Electrode, 135 with boosted speed Flutter. I mean, it's really just Clodsire on the lower end, but Scrafty 58 is pretty big too. And like all of the option slot we normally look for is here. And Scrafty's got Fake Out, Intimidate, Sinistcha, Redirection. There's not really fast like Tailwind, but fast Thunder Wave is from most of the fast guys is good enough. I guess that's it. Not is there a wide guarder here? There's not a wide guarder. The interesting part of this team is that the Weezing mode, because it's not Gigasing out, it's using the very non-committal D-tier Archeops. Who like Archeops can head smash for more damage than Gigas can ever put out, and like it's a lot more susceptible to just randomly dying. So like it's a lot like if you know that you're gonna outspeed most of the stuff in front of you, you can just switch out the wheezing, get your head smash off, and it'll die. You get all the switching benefits. Defeatist never goes off. That's cool. But I think this weezing offers broader support than I think I've seen a lot of draft weezings do in the past. It has synergy with Palafin. Weezing 0 to hero is not affected by what's its name, neutralizing gas and flutter. Even if the proto interaction doesn't work anymore, it's still a 135 speed. It's still, you can still specs it. It can still beat out Prankster. It can still, it's not that good, but it is. I think it's more notable than like the Heatran Dragon. But I think taking this draft as a whole, there's too many moving parts, right? I think there's a lot of 2-mon pivot cores, right? Palafin Weezing is 1. So if you lead Palafin Weezing, you have to switch out Palafin, and then the only guy that act that turn is Weezing. That's kind of bad. The other way around, well, not the other way around, but switching out Palafin for Weezing does seem kind of good, but then like all the on-field abilities have already activated. I mean, you disrupt Prankster, you disrupt like Sheer Force, but I don't know, it seems sort of iffy. The Palafin Sinister core is definitely, what's being gone for here. It looks solid on paper, right? Palafin needs to switch out to do anything. Sinistra needs to switch in to do anything. But I think both of those are going to be difficult to get anything out of in practice. If you lead Palafin and immediately switch it out, you haven't taken any damage yet. Hospitality is not going to heal anything. If you let Palafin sit around, then Baby Finn is sitting around, and having Palafin in the back leaves you open on all different position and errors, even if it's like, I think the strongest on paper. I think like switching out Sinistra for Palafin or switching out whatever for Palafin, and then switching it back out for Sinistra, healing someone else, or, more complicated. It's hard to visualize, and that means it's better somehow. Yeah. I do think viewing Palafin, Sinistra is like, just as those two is thinking a bit narrow. I mean, switching Palafin out for Scrafty is way, way better. Switching Palafin for Heatran could even be better. Like, I think those both give you their own unique options that Sinistra wouldn't. It's not, just because I say Palafin Sinistra doesn't mean the only thing Palafin can switch out for Sinistra. So my main worry is like, there's a lot of pivoting and defensive play going on here. And I think that can be upended pretty quickly by all the 4x weaknesses alongside the frailty of Flutter. Get a turn wrong on Hydreigon or Scrafty, take a D-Gleam to the face, they go down, you've lost, you haven't gotten much out of that. The same thing can happen with Heatran and EQ or Flutter with really any physical move. There are built-in ways on this team to handle those weaknesses. Hydreigon, 4x weak to Fairy, levitates for Heatran, 4x weak to ground, 4x resist to Fairy. Sinistra has redirection and resist ground, and Weezing Gungshot will hit fairies for a lot. So, ways to counterplay around this weakness do exist. But my bottom line is that this team, to achieve that, you have to do a lot of play better. I think that it's kind of hard to play better. It's not hard to play better. Well, it is hard to play better. But I think you don't necessarily have the tools to play better because of how much switching you have to do to get Palafin online. How scared you have to play around Heatran's 4x resistances. How you have to hold a Shuka Berry. How you have to hold a Roselli Berry on some of the other guys. Stuff like that. I just don't have much faith in the kind of imbalance in draft, really. I do hope Palafin can prove me wrong. It does seem to be significantly more threatening when the other guy can't tear to water. And I also hope Archeops hops off. I'm probably underestimating at least Flutter when I said that thing about how you don't have tools. You don't have the tools to make you not have to outplay the other guy, because just having raw specs Flutter or raw booster spaz Flutter draft is very strong. And like, if there's no ground types, then Heatran Magma Storm, then you just have a Heatran. Great. So maybe I'm being a little too harsh. At least on the top two. The top two are very good. It's just, can Palafin pull its weight? We'll see. So 5 GameStop will be Pigs, who is running basically the same team they ran for the season they just won, but without Eternus, and I don't think that has adapted well into this format. Dozo wasn't too difficult to prep for when the other S tier is Screamtail. Flamey is a reactive piece, and Dozo doesn't like to react. Dozo likes to play its own game, where it toxic stalls you and just protects every other turn and kind of pretends you aren't there. The measure of a draft Dozo to me is how hard is everything but the Dozo to prep for. And barring like Howl, Screamtail, and Bandit Durant, I don't think it'll be too hard. Like there's Hisuian Arcanine, the other big offensive guy, and but I think that alongside Dozo stand to lose a lot from no Terra. I don't need to explain my Arc likes Terra, and Dozo not being able to get out of Clear Smog, not being able to get out of a Spore without goggles, and like losing the option for burn, having to sacrifice, like can't Terra Fire for burns. I've never seen, but just listing options. And losing the option for Terra Blast makes like all of its options a lot easier to parse. And like, I think a Dozo with less options is a Dozo with less options. A lot easier to prepare for. I could be underestimating Screamtail here, and maybe even the Zoroark, but like, even just Northern Harklade could be, good enough to make these concerns not mean anything, but, and we'll find out. It is Dozo. He did win a season off a weird stally Dozo, so maybe I'll do it again. I think you trade out Screamtail or Petulant and then just Poison Gas everything to Dozo can protect stall. No bias here, no ulterior motive for wanting someone to get pets, don't look at me. 5 GameShark will be Omega. I haven't watched his video, just as a disclaimer, because my claim is that I'm having trouble seeing the vision. I see this team as treating Celestial like a restricted. 8 Tails gives it the Veil, Bulu gives it the Seed, and Marshadow steals boost from what would otherwise breakthrough steal it. The last 2, Bulu and Marshadow, are able to use their birth damage, close combat Poltergeist, Grassy Turning Vision Woodhammer, to make big trades to set up for a Celestial at endgame. But then what? Celestial leads to Toxic you to death? I mean, sure. It's done that before, it's done that in the real game, but like, I think that when you have advanced notice the Cedar is coming, it's not that hard, There's the power of the move Taunt. There's a very general weakness to fire across the whole team. I mean, there's Dirge, Jealous. I mean, yeah, the resist to fire in the lower tiers, right? Which doesn't mean anything on its own, but like the tiers value is. I'm getting caught in my own head. I'm tired. I try to keep the one tired comment each. I have to put one tired comment in each little section, because I kind of just assume that everyone looks at their placement and watches their segment, and if someone does watch it through, they'll see that I say I'm tired in every video, and then it'll get really and you're being punished for being a loyal fan for no reason. All right, moving on. Yeah, I don't think Leechy Celestial is good. I think get the move Taunt. I think getting coachinged by Marshadow or like Meteor beaming out just seemed better to me. I just don't like stall. Even when it won a full season, I thought it sucked. I think like outside of those top 4, Silvally is the most versatile mon you can draft. It's kind of hard to gush about without just listing every type. I think forwarding that same Grassy Veil, like Grassy Seed Veil gimmick to Skeletor to click Torch Song forever just seemed very good. It seems better than the Celesteela thing. But I have less nice things to say about the redirection and the Trick Room. Pikachu has no damage without Light Ball, and no survivability without Sash, which makes it kind of a what are you doing support piece. It doesn't really want the Eviolite because Straggy needs it a lot more, and Scraggy's the only Intimidate on the team, the only Fake Out on the team. Marshadow looks like you get Fake Out, but it doesn't. And like, I guess the point is to soak up electric moves so Celesteela can hit stuff, but like, the redirection would do that anyway. Jellicent can definitely get Trick Room up, but I did want Jellicent initially. I changed my mind pretty fast, but like, I ran the calcs. Water Spout is just not as good as it used to be. And I love Drampa. I also wanted Drampa, and I didn't get Drampa. But after you get your one Draco out, you're kind of shit out of luck, right? Different thing. get down to Berserk range. Draco, 135 Spy, I'll do something. My Draftzilla hints would be to swap Arctivist, even though it is really cool that it can both be a Trick Room guy and a Slustrous guy, even if it's annoying. The Trick Room setter will be a water type. But whatever, I know. Trade that for Electivire, you can have a real redirector, and then for Pikachu for like Beartech to replace Arctivist. Yes. For GameStop will be Quirt, whose team looks kind of confused. The speeds and 4x weaknesses don't really make this live without Trick Room. I mean, not Trick Room, without like speed control in general. And like, because I think the way Genesect and Volcarona, and even to an extent Moon, just want to be able to hit stuff, and I don't think that they can. Like Banded Specs downloaded Genesect and can go crazy, and it would kind of prefer to be next to a friend instead of a Tailwinder. No, that doesn't mean anything. Hit that all back. I'm tired. If you watched the last segment, you get why I said that. You get why I said I'm tired. Anyway, this team can't do anything without speed control. I think this team really, really needs speed control. But I think what's kind of weird is that it started having a lot of fast guys, and like instead of getting more fast guys, it spent a lot of slots on Trick Room, which I'm not sure I understand. The Duskull, the Cursula, and while certainly being functional in Tailwind, all of Primarina, Hitmontop, and Tangela kind of look like they would prefer Trick Room than the Roaring Moon Tailwind stuff, and that just seems odd to me. You don't have one big Trick Room sweeper like you do one big Tailwind sweeper. And like Ursula's good. Diggersby's good even if it doesn't really count. I don't know. And like, I don't know. I just like the Roaring Moon Tailwind stuff more, right? Genesect hits all the fairy types, and like there's kind of an asterisk there where like you don't need to be a fairy type to click D-Gleam and kill Moon, but whatever. Guard and Volk both offensively benefit a lot from Terra being out of the game. Volk specifically gets in power, and they can be support guys. Which can, the support Moon can knock and swipe and see what happens, and be cool. But I think this team will be using Gardecuno more for the Tailwind and Trick Room jobs than the Moon or the Duskull. Because using Moon for Tailwind, especially with a 4x weakness, seems like a waste of 139 attack. I think Booster Attack or Choice Band are a lot better. And Duskull kind of gives the game away a little too quickly. So the question would then become, can the slow guys make up for Gart's high base 95 speed for Trick Room? And on the other side, is Gart bulky enough to get through setting Tailwind on 95 base speed? And I think the answer to both of those is probably yes. So yeah, Gart coin to the Moon. Show me some Banded Roaring Moon, that's all I want to say. He's just gonna like sucker punch his Gardecuno every week with Raichu, or like a Volt switch on it. And it's like activate weakness policy, or like Garp the Gardecuno, no one's wrong about it. So don't take this too seriously. So I'm delirious. I like Diggersby. That's what I wanted to say. I like Diggersby. For GameShark will be Sempra. This team looks like joyous fun. All of the guys excluded from the Gen 9 decks that would shift the power creep needle up a bit, or what Sempra decided he wanted. The type chart is horrible, and this loses 100-0 to Trick Room, but if the other guy doesn't have Trick Room or can't survive the assault, they're getting their balls nuked off. Happy Lily Specs bullshit, Kartana band bullshit, all the support comes from Deoxys being a better Regieleki. My bad for not remaking the Dio Speed thread. That was a little egregious. All insane. Keldio's pretty good too. It's not that good, but it's a solid A. Everything below A, but like Buzzer does kind of blend into the background, but like you can only bring 4 Pokemon to a game. You only need Tapu Lele, Kartana, one of Keldeo and Deoxys Speed, and then anything from below, or like. And Hawlucha too. I thought Hawlucha kind of sucked, and I was going to say get Excelgor instead. But Hawlucha gets Tailwind, so it's definitely better, and definitely really good. That's like the only NatDex move that I've noticed as a NatDex move. Hawlucha getting Tailwind, because I didn't get that in Gen 9. And gone, whoa, it's big that guy gets that. I guess there's like Lando T Knock and Hidden Powers. I don't think those count, because because Landorus is being robbed of Knock. It's unjust that it doesn't get Knock in Gen 9 and the Hidden Powers are just... Anyway. 3 GameStop will be Scaredy. So I made this team for him, basically. He was just too busy with work. To my knowledge, his job is to take in all of the world's suffering so that we can live painless lives, but he's been doing a really bad job at it lately. You have to work super, super duper overtime. So the building process was that I would list Pokemon that I thought would be good, and he would tell me which ones were his favorite, and then he would get them. And then I kind of executive overrid and told him, okay, you're gonna need... Sorry, man. The general theme is brainless hyper offense. Everything is really strong, everything is really frail. We do need to find a figure on this somehow. It's free agency over, so we're just going to live with it. But whatever. I don't think Poltergeist will do because I don't like Sinistra, but otherwise this is fine. Steely Spirit when you can't Terra to resist water, or resist steel. Sorry, water is the main Terra that I was thinking of. That's going to nuke everything, and Hustle Dracozolt is just a fitting Pokemon for him. It fits his willingness to hit 80% or less accurate moves. That means because he likes hitting them, they will be more accurate. And Hustle boosted Outrage or Hustle boosted Bolt Beak will be very strong. The speeds are very bad without Tailwind. Like, it's a very hard matchup if they get matched, but in this division, I don't think that'll be too bad a problem unless there's Snatch. I'm not really worried about the Snatchers. This team being so high is kind of a reflection of my general disdain for the teams in my division, because I don't think this is too good. There's not enough sashes to go around, there's not enough speed numbers, there's not enough bulk numbers. Whatever. I'm saying whatever a lot. I'm saying whatever to end these. So I'm cutting into your intro, Spooky, sorry. 3 GameShark is Spooky. It was doing basically hard Trick Room. That can be bulky offense if the situation call for it. Actually getting the Trick Room up could be harder than it looks. Relying on 2 guys in the base 100 speed range is that Trick Room seems like could be a bit difficult in the long run. Mimikyu can get stuck doing nothing without an orb. I mean, I don't think anyone really wants to take the taunting a Mimikyu risk, but if they do and you're holding an orb, that sucks. And Mycelium Might means that like all Toadstool can really do in Trick Room is Rage Power. Mimikyu, I mean, it's got 100 base speed anyway, especially. Mimikyu's a good Trick Room setter, that's true. But I think I'll have to get creative to beat out phasing or even like double spread moves, right? Putting a redirector, you've got a lot of those next to Mimikyu. If you're in a set Trick Room, does kind of suck because Mimikyu's fast. You have to switch one of them out after. That's a free hit or something like that. So I think you might have to like give it Swords Dance or something to like, okay, they're gonna roar me. The set Trick Room. I don't want to set Trick Room on these guys. I'll just set Tailwind, set Swords Dance, and start hitting them. Unlike putting Mimikyu next to hands, just like if the roar guy is a ghost or has Covert Cloak, and like you don't really know if it's Covert Cloak from preview. You can make guesses. So you might have to put like Taunt on Mimikyu, stuff like that. I mean, the only issues really resolve around the roar problem, which I'm kind of blowing up a bit. Pretty uncommon for someone to bring that, but it does exist. I think you should keep that in mind every week. I kind of half think that the Cottony Tailwind mode is better than the Trick Room mode. Latias and Blood Moon both have huge nuke power, and I think like at least Blood Moon damage being front loaded is kind of better than it being in the back. And like Mimikyu does just fine in Trick Room. I guess that's really it. Just those 4. Iron Hands doesn't really. They can try. I don't know. Hovering on base 50 for Trick Room for all your speeds is uncomfortable to me in draft, but that's not a universal experience. That's a me thing. I really like how many options there are for setup, not including Trick Room, right? I don't mind Blood Moon Luna, I don't mind Latios, Swords Dance Iron Hands, and like I guess Shell Smash Blastoise, but bad. Those are all really interesting. I think where you lead Blastoise plus Iron Hands, and you don't know whether it's going to be fake out Shell Smash or Follow Me, Swords Dance, or if it's just going to be one, or you don't even know which one fakes out, which one's going to fake out and which one's going to attack. Stuff like that could be really fun mind games. I would ditch the coughing for a Slowpoke, just so you can do weakness policy bullshit with hands. I think Slowpoke still has Oblivious. I think that typing was pretty good. Your Light Bulk is valuable, and then like you surf with the Slowpoke, activate a weakness policy on Blood Moon, you psychic your own Iron Hands, get a weakness policy up on that. Stuff like that. I think that's cute. I just like Slowpoke and policy bullshit. And then I would swap Toad Scroll out for like Cinderace just to get a Fire Water Grass Core. Those are your Draftzilla hints. I didn't mention Pincursion. This Rising Voltage is cool. It's cool. So, number 2 GameStop will be Doom Dragon. We probably should have banned Melmetal, and that's my bad, right? I saw it was banned in Gen 8 Doubles OU, and I didn't look into it any further. And I did. And it's stupid as fuck in a way Jirachi and Skunmen aren't. Like, Serene Grace Iron Hands or Air Slashes are annoying, but they're low BP moves off relatively low attacking stats. So, like, you just get lucky one time. If you don't get doubled up on, you'll probably be fine. Doubling up on that slot, the other guy can attack and kill you. Stuff like that, I think it's fun in context. I do not think that is true of Melmetal, because Double Iron Bash is a no drawback, 144 BP move off 143 attack, and the base 34 speed tier is specifically useful in a draft context. There's extremely few mons that are to speed that, and also can do anything at all. I think there's a difference between like an under 50 being Crabominable and an under 34 being like a good Kova Grigus. I mean, Kova Grigus isn't bad. I don't really think of a good example. An under 34 being Duskull. That's a little bit better. My point is that they're very rare, and there's not too many of them. And like, I think that if you want to contest Melmetal in Trick Room, you have to summon that underspeeds it, or you have to get like a guy with 50 to hold a room service or a power weight. Then you're not holding an item that can break it or live a hit from it. And if you're bulky enough to survive a hit from Bash, you've got the flinch chance to worry about, and that kind of forces Covert Cloak, which goes back to the same, I need Life Orb to Oko, Melmetal. I can't hold Life Orb because it's too likely that I get double Iron Bash flinched. That's not fun. I would go so far as to say that's not competitive. But Pokemon isn't always a perfectly competitive game, so it's not that big a deal in the grand scheme of things. A lot of this rating is based on Melmetal just being fucking crazy, because the rest of the team is oddly disjointed. The Trick Room core is super committal. Lowbro can't do much if it's not getting Trick Room up. It's just a do-nothing sort of guy. It can do Belly Drum, I guess, but that's not very good. And like, TU, Latias, Zeraora are all very hard to splash inside of the Trick Room mode. I think that can force you to bring weird 4s. Melmetal can hang with the fast guys because it's just the Ursaluna doesn't have to get guts up. But like, I don't think the other slow guys are like strong enough in Slowbro's case, or are bulky enough in Enamorous case. I mean, Brute Bonnet is fine, but that's a different thing. The Enamorous can pretend to be a Flutter, and its bulk is pretty good. But it's just, the speed is 46, so it's really easy to double up on. Putting that next to like a base 100 speed Chiyo isn't that exciting. It's not that hard to counter, but even if you're assuming that the Chiyo was Scarf, which you should be. And like, separately, I think Chiyo is kind of a weird, Latias is kind of a weird Chiyu partner, because like, she's not very strong. She's not very strong, and the main draw to her is having a big special defense stat, and like, it just kind of feels like it's evening her out into being a Latios. I don't know how the numbers work on that, but like, I feel like a Latios that goes, okay, now I'm super strong, and my special defense is even lower would be better than, no, I'm kind of Latios strong, and I'm kind of Latios. That's not an analogy that too much sense. My point is, Latios is an odd Geo partner. I guess GU Special Zeraora could be neat. It does fit Flutter Speed. I guess Electro Web, that could be kind of fun. Specs Thunderbolt on Zeraora next to Scarf GU would be very, very offensive, but it could be kind of fun. I do like the fast mode doesn't need Tailwind to do anything. It kind of needs, the only thing you need to worry about setting up is Trick Room, and like, Latias is bulky enough to set Tailwind if the need be, alongside all of your other setup needs, but that's a cool option. That's a neat option. Riolo and Nidoking are good. I just like Nidoqueen. I like Nidoking, sorry. Their first life up is strong. Riolo gets Finger. Riolo coaching Melmetal is good. Or Brute Bonnet is good. Vulpix is bad. Vulpix is mouse and cheese trap emoji. My ending disclaimer is that I don't want to see anyone losing the Slowbro, bulldozing the weakness policy. No. That's your official warning. Don't let it happen. Number 2, GameShark will be Mike Titan. This is quintessential draft Rain. The only NatDex guy is Throw, because Raindex doesn't get any new NatDex tools. Tapu Fini's, not Tapu Fini. Oh no, oh my god. I'm having a tired day, okay? It's late, it's bedtime. Rain doesn't get any new NatDex tools. Tapu Fini's not strong enough. I thought about that. I read that. Oh wait. Oh, he doesn't have Tapu Fini. Jade has Tapu Fini. But no, I was referring to the Tapu Fini. And there's no water ultra. There's Swift Swimmers, but they're like a bit. The top floor of the whole story here, and it's just that the other guys are here too. There's some Rain Room, some Setup, and some Hurricane. None of them are as good as Lando clicking Sandseer or Basculegion clicking Wavecrash. But they can try to do those things. You can try to look a Moltres Hurricane or whatever. The only thing I have to say is to make the Rain Room a little more threatening. Get rid of something in B, probably the Lucolo, for an Araquanid, and then maybe or trade Thunderous for Ferrothorn, because I like Ferrothorn. You probably shouldn't actually trade Ferrothorn. Probably shouldn't actually trade Thunderous out when you've got Pachirisu. But, you know, just throwing that out there. So, 1 GameStop will be beer. This is option slop, which I thought was a succinct and understandable new phrase, but it wasn't. I thought I was on to something. Basically, I mean that it's every checkbox option that you're looking out for. Fake out, follow me, intimidate, set a spread. Trick room, fast tailwind. It's a rare case of a balanced team actually looking scary, and all it took was broken ass Urshifu. There's a couple odd picks. The only thing Bronzong has to set up a trick room for is itself. Maybe Mawile, base 85 Mawile. Clefable, but Clefable. And like, I'm not sure any of these pieces really want redirection besides Bronzong. And like, there's like Naziplot, Naganadel, Naganadel, or Swords Dance Urshifu. Those are both kind of picks. Frail or slow. And like, really, it's just that the top 4 Goon Squad are hard to handle. Naganadel beats dragons, and the other 3 can beat literally everything else. Everything below A, besides Mawile, is a really high stat option to anything that could throw a wrench in the press buttons with Urshifu and Friends plan. The only thing for Beer to worry about are the dangers inherent to playing a Bounty team in draft. Like, if he fakes out a covert cloak, he might be boned, and he'll have to play especially close mind to his position. Which shouldn't be too hard, because again, these defensive pieces are all very strong. They exert a lot of pressure. You don't have to think too hard about your positioning. Even if you have to pay especially close mind. It's kind of 2 competing phrases. So pick whatever is the most applicable. No, that makes sense, right? Like, the team gives you options to position well easily, but you are punished harder for making poor positioning decisions on the off. Yes, that makes sense. The most exciting pick on this whole team is Drifblim. Status Spreading, Will-O-Wisp, T-Wave, Skill Swap on Burden, and String Sap all seem really strong on this type of team, to say nothing of Fast Tailwind. I would trade Mawile for like Strudel or Purloin, so you can do Prankster Rain Dance at least once, fake out. Like me, I shouldn't have said that. Now you're gonna get a Rain Dance guy and fuck me up. But whatever, onto the last GameShark, which is Perry. So, out of all 20 teams, even mine, I think this is the only one that looks both fun and good. Maybe some. Bundle as your only Cork Drive is surprisingly modest, but with Coco Bolt Beam alone, those 2 can push through just about everything. They're not hitting Okos alone, sure, but they can together. A bolt, that's the point of the Bolt and the Beam. Especially if, like, Koopa is there too. I mean, you can have 3 Pokemon out at once, but, like, T-wave someone, get Hoopa in, Hoopa kills them. Stuff like that. Hoopa having a 150 spa, having 150 special attack with a protect, break, and groove is super good. And then there's a lot of bullshit you can do with Edition. It might be hard to pull off, but like, you know, Sash, Steel Sash stuff. Stuff like that. All you really need to do is to punch big enough holes in with the top 3 for the bulky setup guys in the back. Comfey, Goldtrez, or Gorsula are good setup cores, even if Comfey doesn't go all too well with the top 3. Electric Seed, Steelix is kind of the same thing, and Miansha, Rotom are more than serviceable glue. The redirection is spotty, just Carnivine, and it's just Rage Powder. There might not be enough sashes to go around. Miansha needs one, under Iron Bundle might want one, Hoopa might want one, Aerodactyl might want one. But like, as long as the bolt beams all over the place, I don't see that being a problem. Perry can lead the S tiers every time, and provided they get like one read right, you know, one who doesn't protect and backs into that slot. It doesn't. If you decide to risk hitting Blizzard for some reason, then it's even more than, you know, hitting the slot is based on accuracy and not getting lucky. Not lucky, but like not predicting, stuff like that. And I think you could probably steal the game immediately then. Really good. You know, Speed, Life Orb Bundle, Band Respects Coco, you know, any of those with a setup guy, like lead it next to a setup guy, lead Band Coco, Wild Charge something, Nasty Plot with Goltrez. It's all easy, it's all mix and match. Show me some crazy shit, show me some Gorsey sweeps, show me some what Aerodactyl does, show me the fattest Aerodactyl Rockhead double I've ever seen. So that's everyone. Move on to the official ranking, which I've sorted into tiers that I put into Google Sheets spreadsheet. So these are the top tier contenders: Perry, Mike Titan, Beer. These are the guys who have built teams that I think should guarantee them playoffs if they play with their eyes open. Have a shot as everyone I think has a certified good team, but it won't be too big an upset if they bubble out or like lose in the first round of Top Cut. Have to work for it are teams with strong options on paper that will require relatively better play to achieve. I gotta examine the weight I put on playing better, right? I gotta set that right in my internal world. Where like I guess, you know, is playing better just, but what extent is playing better just the natural extension, not natural extension, sounding too pseudo-intellectual. To what extent is playing better like just what you have to do to win the game, and how much of it is a downside? You know, like what makes a balanced team where you have to play better inherently, what makes that inherently better than like a hyper offense team? Is that it has more options, it has more option slop. I guess it's just knowing how to use. Yeah, no, I was right the first time, because it's having a bunch of tools and knowing how to use them. If you're in have to work for it, you've got a lot of tools. If you want to win, you have to know how to use them. If you don't know how to use them or can't use them right, you lose. There. Solve that philosophical dilemma. Fighting uphill are teams that I think like have more working against them than working for them. I think that these can also be addressed pretty easily with like 1 or 2 trades, or like aren't even that bad. I feel weird having Sadie and Wumbles being here. Kind of feels wrong. But I don't. But if then the tier above it would be 6 people, and that would look weird. I'm not gonna. Sorry, I guess. And then big problems are teams that I think it's going to be extremely difficult, and you'll have to work very hard to make playoffs. I think that if you want to fix the team, you would have to make all of your trades or need more trades than are possible. Alright, that's it. I guess I want to do an aside. To just run back to the point about how a lot of these teams are sort of boring. A lot of people got the sillies and made weird teams, and only Parry and Sempras kind of look especially fun to play or even against, which I think is subjective but also kind of valuable. I don't know. Breaking Parry's Bolt Beam and breaking Sempra's offense bullshit kind of seems more fun than like breaking Melmetal or breaking Hand's Blood Moon again, or breaking Celestial is kind of fun. Breaking Celestial is kind of fun if it has Grassy Seed. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I'll make a separate fun to fight list later. I can. Alright, yeah. I don't want to end this on a sour note. Like I said, I like NatDex. I like the NatDex more than I thought. I think I've been thinking more from the start of the video. A lot of time has passed in the start of the video where I said I thought like the game being simpler was bad. The game being simpler is good, because sometimes not thinking too hard is. There's a time and place for not thinking hard, and time and place for thinking hard is not in fucking NatDex. All right, my voice hurts. I've been rambling. I'm not gonna be able to watch this because it'll take too long and I'm tired. But all right, I want to play Etrian Odyssey. I'm gonna get to play 10 minutes of it before having to go to bed.